Polls have closed in Egypt on the sixth round of voting since the fall of Hosni Mubarak nearly 3 years ago. This time, a constitutional referendum. In some parts, deadly clashes with supporters of the now banned Muslim Brotherhood. In others, high turnout, with citizens cheering on what's expected to be the first step to electing the head of the army as president. Citizens keen to turn the page on the Islamist-led government of the now jailed Mohamed Morsi. Islamists who are themselves divided, with the Salafists siding with the yes vote camp. We'll see why and ask what's next for political Islam in the Arab world's most populous state. More broadly, was Tahrir Square and the first ever election of a civilian president in Egypt a mere hiatus? Today, in the France 24 debate, we're asking if the Arab Spring is already over there. With us to talk about it from Cairo, Yasmine FAROUK, who teaches political science at Cairo University. Thank you for being with us. Here in the studio, Mohammed El Alfi, who is a political economy consultant. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Anti-coup activist Moayad HARB is also with us. Thanks for joining us again. And from London, he's the author of The Arabs, Eugene ROGAN, rather in Oxford, I should say, director of the Middle East Center at Oxford University. Thank you for being with us. The France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter, our hashtag F24debate. Let's begin in Cairo and go to correspondent Kathryn STAPLEY. Kathryn, yesterday at the same time we were at the midway point of the two-day vote on this referendum, you described enthusiasm at the polling stations.
Yes, and today we've been certainly seeing the same kind of enthusiasm. I mean, people here in this polling station where I am in an upscale neighbourhood of Cairo called Heliopolis have been very keen to talk to us, very keen to tell us why they wanted to come out and vote. And pretty much everybody we've spoken to has said that they're voting yes for this referendum on this constitution. And it's not about the constitution per se. They're saying it's about moving the country forward. It's about bringing stability and security and an end to 3 years of political turmoil and protest. And what they also said is they need the economy to become stable again. And they feel that this referendum really, with a yes vote, will enable that to happen. And I think people are feeling that this is a nationalistic duty, a patriotic duty to come out and vote. And some of the polling stations we've seen that we've been driving around Cairo today, they have loudspeakers with nationalistic songs blaring out of these loudspeakers. People are selling in the neighborhood Egyptian flags and also posters of the army chief, General Abdel Fattah Haxie. It's quite a party atmosphere and people are bringing their families out to vote. Now, in terms of numbers, the turnout really today doesn't seem as big as yesterday. That's what the judge at this particular polling station has told us. He is claiming that the turnout in this polling station is around 50%, but local election monitors are saying that overall it's somewhere between 30 and 40%, but it's still the enthusiasm certainly among the yes voters.
30 to 40%, how does that gauge with previous votes?
Well, it's the last constitution, which was in December, the last referendum on the constitution was in December 2012. And that was, of course, on the Islamist constitution drawn up by under Mohamed Morsi's presidency. And it was drawn up by a mainly Islamist-dominated panel. And the turnout there was around 32 to 33%. And what the authorities here are looking for is more than that. And that means that they will have a resounding yes to the legitimacy of them ousting Mohamed Morsi back in July.
And once again, the enthusiasm Kathryn describing palpable despite the sometimes deadly violence we've witnessed over the last 48 hours.
This one, we are all happy to go down. We are so excited doing it. With the Brotherhood, it was really depressing and scary.
I vote yes because Egypt must be saved, and then I will vote for al-Sisi to be president.
The constitution doesn't represent me. It was written by the band of Amr Musa, a close friend of Mubarak.
All right, Kathryn, we heard one dissenting voice there. More broadly, Kathryn, you described the enthusiasm when it came to this vote among those that are voting. What's the overall tone of the debate 3 years after the ouster of Mubarak, where you are today?
Well, there's really been very little room for debate on this referendum, on this constitution. If you've seen the campaigning leading up to this vote around the streets of Cairo, it's really just posters telling people to vote yes. And anybody trying to put up anything urging people to vote no, a number of activists were arrested doing so. Now, the Muslim Brotherhood, of course, are boycotting this vote, and they've staged a number of protests in the past couple of days. And of course, there were a number of people killed during those protests yesterday. Where I am is just 2 kilometers from the presidential palace, and earlier on today, around 500 supporters of the ousted President Mohamed Morsi tried to get to that presidential palace to stage a demonstration, and they were fired upon by the security forces with tear gas and water cannons, and they then dispersed. But the general feeling really here is that, and this has been propagated by the media, is that if you vote yes, then you're a patriot, but then if you vote no or you boycott, then you're a traitor to the June 30th protests that ousted Mohamed Morsi from power.
All right, Kathryn STAPLEY, many thanks for that update. Those polls closing in Cairo and elsewhere across Egypt. Let's turn to some of the rest of our panel and begin with you, Yasmine FAROUK in Cairo. Yasmine, is it too indiscreet to ask you if you voted?
Yes, I did. I think the ink is already gone, but I did.
All right. And what are your thoughts about this particular vote? Because it sounds a lot, listening to our correspondent, like it wasn't a referendum on a constitution, but more a plebiscite on the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yes, of course, or maybe a plebiscite on the legitimacy of the 3rd of July coup. And because, I mean, if you ask anyone, and it has nothing to do with education level, it has nothing to do with the social level, if you ask most of the people who went today to vote, whether they read the Constitution altogether or whether they read the other point of view, that people who would vote no, they would tell you no, we were doing it because, as your correspondent said, out of patriotism, because we want Egypt to move on, because we tried 1 year of terrible Muslim Brotherhood rule. And no, it's not about the substance, it's about the process, it's about who is governing right now.
You speak of the July 3rd coup. Can you explain for our viewers?
First of all, I could be, I don't know, it's pretty risky to call it a coup right now here in Egypt. But it's about the militaries taking over the government and overthrowing Mohamed Morsi. And even if Mohamed Morsi's government and bureaucracy was not necessarily legitimate in the sense that they were not elected, but Mohamed Morsi himself was elected. I mean, whether we agree or support the Muslim Brotherhood or not, Mohamed Morsi was elected. He was overthrown by the militaries on the 3rd of July, and an interim president took over with the government. However, Mohamed Morsi is right now in jail. He's being sued for a number of crimes that he had. Well, they need to prove that he has committed. I am not with the Brotherhood. I worked under the governments of Assam Sharaf and of Hisham Kandil, but I was not with the overthrow of Mohamed Morsi on the 3rd of July by the militaries.
All right, Mohammed El Alfi, your reaction to something our correspondent said, Kathryn STAPLEY, about people tearing down posters urging the no vote. So there really is no debate going on right now in Egypt.
No, if we will talk about debate, there is no debate, but there is no two wings in Egypt, but the great wing is going to say yes because they got fed up with 3 years of chaos. And when she said many people arrested, yes, many people arrested. When you will go to the voting center behind the curtains, you can say yes or no, but you will be arrested if you will guide the people outside to say yes or no. That is the main problem.
And what are your thoughts about people tearing down campaign posters that are urging a no vote?
No one. Now, Muslim Brotherhood would like to say no for this constitution. Others say many advertisement and TV and radios advise people to say yes for stability, for security, for development and the future reforms in Egypt. So the two lines is different. But most of the Egyptians would like to say yes, because really the people get tired, 3 years of chaos. And if we will talk about the percentage of the people will vote, the voters in Egypt, as you know, more than 52 million, they have the rights to vote in any elections. But the percentage we will know, I think tomorrow, Friday, when they will announce the final results. But I think it will exceed the number of people voting. But I am not talking about yes or no, of course, or the final result.
The turnout will be higher than you think.
Higher rather than rather than 2012. That is, I think, will be true.
All right, Moayad, Harb, your reaction, the idea, okay, yes, there hasn't been debate, but you still have the right to vote no when you go inside the polling station.
If we do talk about democracy, I think everyone has the freedom of expression. Saying no today is quite impossible, like Kathryn said, like Yasmine said, saying no is being a traitor. So that's throwing away all the democratic propaganda, first of all. Secondly, just to disagree with Mr. I don't remember the name, I'm sorry.
Mohammed Alfi.
Was Mr. Mohammed. To disagree, being fed up for in 3 years, I mean, we spent 60 years under the military regime. If I will compare both of these two fed ups, I think the 60 years will be much higher. That's the second point. Finally, I want to make a balance sheet. A balance sheet of the situation since the 3rd of July. We had more than 2,000 people killed. All the opposition into jail. Who talks? We overcome.
Excuse me. If you will talk about some people killed, you are talking about terrorists. Talking about terrorists, not opposition parties. Yes, it's okay.
Okay, 6 April is not terrorist, no. But anyway, today we overcome the situation of whose camp is in which camp are you? If you still are in this kind of position, oh yes, we still have to know if we are with the Muslim Brotherhood, with 6 April, with the communists. No, today we have the military regime, where we found more than 20,000 people getting arrested and thrown into jail. That's I mean, killing people, changing the constitution, putting into jail the president with, like Yasmine said, we have he has been arrested.
It's impossible. It's impossible. France 24. They have many. They have a lot of correspondents in Egypt. They are not killing. Excuse me. They are not killing people in the streets.
Please be polite.
If you will say yes or no, it's your right.
I am today.
If you will say yes or no, my friend, it's your right. No one will stop you.
I want to finish, please. I am here for democracy. When I saw the lady last time with 6 April, I am happy to see her. Why? Because any clean and sane, clean democracy need an opposition. If you delete the opposition, it becomes directly a dictatorship. Today, the 3rd of July coup, they asked for Morsi to go out, to be overthrown.
It's a revolution, not a military coup. It's a real revolution, not military coup.
But just one sentence. With the 3rd of July, is the people came out to say we don't want Morsi.
Yes.
Okay, I am totally agree.
But he refused to go.
Did we ask to change the constitution? No. Today we are stealing the country, like they said. 60 years we saw the military. Today, Abdel Nasser, they did the same. They said, oh, we need stability. Oh, we need economic. These people are cool people.
What is the problem with
Nasser? We've mentioned, you were mentioning 60 years. You're talking about the long view. I want to bring in Eugene Rogan on this. And Eugene, we have a comment from a viewer saying Egypt will vote yes to the new constitution, but I don't think it will bring stability. When you look at the long view at this particular point in time, what are your thoughts when you hear the debate that we're having?
Well, I mean, as the previous speakers have really shown, Egypt is probably in its most polarized moment in modern history. And I think the divisions that Egyptians are feeling between the strength that the Muslim Brotherhood had shown in the polls after the 2011 revolution, the confidence that the people are showing in the military to try and restore equilibrium, to try and bring back law and order to streets that had become unruly, and the sense among the Egyptian people, among their unpolitical majority, that what they really want most is not political freedoms, but to have some economic security, has left Egypt feeling that its revolutionary experience is really not all that it's chalked up to be. And today, I don't think that they're really voting on a constitution. I think that the vote that people are casting is for change. And the change that they seem to want is to return to the stability of a military-led order. But this is not a constitutional vote. And what will result from this is not the kind of political freedoms that I think the Egyptians who are most politically engaged would hope for their country.
All right. So first, stability and getting food on the table, and then freedoms. Just a quick question for you, Yasmine, FAROUK, before we go to the break. This Wednesday, the Cairo stock market reaching its highest point since 3 years ago. In fact, since the day when Tunisia's president was overthrown. What are your thoughts on that? It seems as though the markets are also voting yes.
Yes, of course, given that what we've been witnessing, I mean, in terms of the political elite or the political coalition around the militaries right now, you find a lot of members of the old regime. And those members of the old regime include the businessmen and all the economic elite that was around the Mubarak regime, who are back on the stage openly and explicitly. And these are the people who are present and active in the Egyptian stock market. So it was not a surprise. Plus, I mean, no matter how it is done, you have some stability that is restored. I mean, despite the demonstrations, despite the one or two bombs here and there that were detonated or that actually exploded. Repression is bringing back some kind of stability, especially in the economy, especially around major public institutions. So all this was naturally reflected in the stock market.
All right, we're going to pick up on that point when we come back and also see some of the other players that are calling for a yes vote. They include the Salafists. We'll see why. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24 debate.